All right. Good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to this webinar. Topic for today is Agile Project Management using TFS again, presented by India Mentor team. So let's quickly talk about what is Agile. There are a lot of other practices under Agile umbrella. So when to use what is this all about? Scrum, Kanban, DSDM, extreme programming, adaptive software development, Lean, Crystal. So let's see. There's a person here who is a little confused about what to do in life. There are a lot of agile practices, a lot of things happening all over the world. What should I do? Right? So let's begin. About me, I'm Prashant Shinde. I'm based out of Mumbai. I have a tagline which says certification will make you agile certified person, but agile mindset will make you a true agile practitioner. So there are a lot of people who talk to me about getting certified in agile, but at the same time they don't apply those principles and values in their work. So if you want to be really successful in agile, you need to be a person with that agile mindset. You have to use those all principles, values of agile in your day-to-day life, and yes, then only you will become a true agile practitioner. So yes, I'm a blogger, I'm a speaker, trainer. I have been training various people across the world. Right, so that's quickly about me. So this is the agenda for today. We are going to cover this in say approximately 1 hour, 60 minutes. So it is divided into two parts basically. One is what is agile project management, what are different agile methodologies, what are agile principles, what is Scrum framework. So we have been looking around for people implementing Scrum for their new product development areas. So what is this Scrum all about? Why should I use it? What are the benefits if I go for Scrum? So at the same time, we'll quickly cover what are the Scrum roles, artifacts, and meetings. So yes, it is really difficult to cover a lot of areas under Agile in this 1 hour, but we will try to touch base most of the, I would say, introductory part of Agile and Scrum. And the second part is specifically for Team Foundation Server. That's the most powerful tool I have been using for quite so long, which is a Microsoft product. And we'll see how this TFS or Agile Project Management is using this TFS, maybe TFS Online, we are going to actually talk about, which is a cloud-based tool. So how to create a project in TFS? So there are a lot of other templates available now. One is Agile template, the another is Kanban template, the other one is Scrum template. So a lot of other templates available. So we'll see how to create a project. Then once my project is created, we would be interested in creating and managing the product backlogs in a very short note. They are like a user stories for me, right, in traditional project management. So how do I manage my product backlog? Then how to create and manage sprints in TFS. So sprints is actually related to the Scrum concept. So there is a sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. How do I create and manage them? At the same time, when we do sprint planning in Scrum, we create a lot of tasks. So how do we create those tasks in this particular product, TFS? How do I monitor them? How do I move them from one area to the other area? For example, to-do list, in progress, and done. And then yes, of course, how to conduct a daily stand-up meeting using this Scrum project, which we are going to create on this TFS. Right? So that's the agenda for today. Let's move on. Let's talk about what is Agile. So there are various definitions spread across the world. So somebody says Agile is a framework. Somebody says Agile is a technology. There are a lot of misconceptions maybe. So let's talk about what is Agile, let's say according to me. So it's a time-boxed iterative approach to project delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project instead of trying to deliver it all at the end, right? So again, first of all, it's not only for software development, but widely used in software area. So that's the reason I have been using this definition. So Agile is a time-boxed iterative approach. So time-boxing is one of the key aspects of Agile. An iterative approach. So we don't want to deliver everything together, or rather that is how we have been using this since a longer period, which is like a traditional project management or a waterfall methodology. So it's not that waterfall is wrong or waterfall is not correct. We have been using this since quite so many years, and still there are people who are using it, but there are certain good advantages with this agile methods. So we are interested to listen or understand how are these advantages are helping me in my project. Okay. So yes, agile development software is all about change, technologies, waterfall, change environments, stakeholders, productivity, collaborations, value creation. All these are words you can use in Agile. So agile development specifically for software we are going to talk about. Then what is this Agile? So history of Agile is basically there was a conference at Snowbird Ski Resort in Utah and the worldwide 17 experts in year 2001 met there and formed this Agile Manifesto. I hope many of you must be aware of this. So what Agile Manifesto is? The first point says individuals and interactions over processes and tools. That means whenever we want to execute the project, let's say in waterfall, we usually talk about, okay, this particular process is not implemented, this particular tool we are not using, so you should use it. But at the same time, now we are more interested in understanding my individual and interactions between them. So as a team, when we work together, we should interact and collaborate. That's the most important aspect now. Next point, working software over comprehensive documentation. So when we do any project, our project manager or any senior person, our tech lead, project lead always talk about, hey, Prashant, have you done this documentation? Have you done this design document? Have you written this use cases, test cases, whatever, XYZ document? So yes, they are interested, but at the same time, if we put those productive efforts for making that software, in a working environment or creating a working software, a stable software, that is more important to me nowadays, right? That's the second point. Third, very important, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So as a customer, if I'm working for you, I would be really interested in collaborating with you, get your views, get your feedback. Whatever is the feedback, I'll accommodate, I'll make those changes, and I'll try to create a beautiful product for you, right? Fourth point, responding to change over following a plan. So in traditional project management, our project manager is always used to create those MPP plans, and as a developers or a testers, we used to follow it, right? But when a change request comes, it's really a pain. Where should we accommodate, because the scope was fixed and there is no chance now for adding this change. So responding to change is one of the key aspect which is handled in Agile so easily. So these are the first important points which are highlighted in blue. It is not that these points are not important, but in Agile environment we value this blue highlighted things more than all these orange things. Alright, there are certain names of these 17 experts given. You can refer this recording later and go through their names. Then, so we talked about Agile Manifesto. So there are four key aspects. So there are certain principles, total 12 principles in Agile. Let's cover them quickly. First point, customer satisfaction by early and continuous delivery of useful software, right? So now, when we gonna discuss with any new customer or existing customer, we'll say your satisfaction, we can satisfy your needs by early and continuous delivery by providing a quality software. Next point, welcome changing requirements even late in development, right? So change requirement or change management is one of the key area in any project development. Third point, working software is delivered frequently. So it's like weeks rather than months. So let's say we talk about sprint planning or a sprint or a Scrum framework. What we usually do is we try to create a working functionality or a potentially shippable working functionality in 2 to 3 weeks of time. So working software is delivered so frequently for my customer. Next point, close and daily cooperation between business people and developers, right? So the collaboration is one of the most key important aspects here. Then projects are built around motivated individuals who should be trusted. At the same time, face-to-face conversation is the best form of communication, which is equivalent to a co-located teams, right? But yes, it is also not important always that I have co-located teams, so there are distributed teams. So again, we try to have this face-to-face conversation with the help of, say, Skype, video calling through Skype or webinars through WebEx, right? Any kind of video conferencing mechanism is suggested here, right? Working software is the principal measure of progress. So let's say if a traditional project management, my customer comes to me and say, hey Prashant, what is the status of the project? How much you have completed? In waterfall, it is really difficult to say that, okay, I have completed 40%. But are we really able to complete those 40%? We may not be sure, right? But if we are into Agile and let's say we are following any kind of Agile methodologies, we can easily measure the progress of any project. Then sustainable development, able to maintain a constant pace. So let's say we talked about Scrum. If Scrum, we are able to maintain a constant pace, which is equivalent to this velocity concept, we will be able to have a sustainable development without working over weekends, without working extra hours. We will be able to achieve a good quality project. Next, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design. Because through current change in markets, changing requirements, we always try to have our technical excellence, an eye on this technical excellence of my project. So it always evolves with a good design. So there are engineering practices like refactoring, test-driven development, clean code principles, a lot of technical areas we can improve on. So my project will be obviously evolved with new and new technical and good design concepts. So that's good. Next, simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. Most of the times, as a developer, when somebody asks me, hey Prashant, how much work you have completed? I'll say, yeah, 90%, 85%, 95% or 99%. But do I really know that, okay, this 1% or 5% what is pending? Do I know that what I have to do? Because most of the times developers assume some things, or, let's say, even if this 95% work is done, I may say, okay, this is done. Now you can take this for testing. So, to know what is not done is really important. And that's where Agile helps us. Next, self-organizing teams and regular adaptation to changing circumstances. So these are the most important 12 principles in Agile. Right? Moving on. So project management methodologies, we are only going to talk about, like, say, waterfall versus Agile. So let's quickly cover. So waterfall is what? A sequential design approach wherein we do what? A requirement gathering, a design document, a coding or a development, then testing, then regression testing or a UAT, and then deployment to the customer end, right? So it's a sequential approach. In waterfall, of course, we have a clear understanding of the end result and requirements, without which, I can't work on any waterfall project. Then design of experiment cannot be used in waterfall. So it's basically, let's say I don't know what to do and I want to do certain R&D, a kind of a POC, which may not be possible in waterfall always. So design of experiment cannot be done. Then it is very difficult or sometimes impossible to handle changes in waterfall, right? That's one of the key aspects where Agile methodologies helps us. Then intense collaboration may not be required as waterfall has each role defined, right? So let's say it's a project manager, 4 developers, 2 testers, 1 business analyst, 1 deployment person, something like that. So everybody is responsible of their own roles, right? So it's more like each role is defined. Now let's talk about Agile. So Agile is based upon adaptation, evaluation and learning approach. So okay, we make mistakes, we will learn from them and we'll go ahead. So making mistakes is okay, it's part of our life. As humans we make mistakes, but yes, after making those mistakes we should see them. What all mistakes has happened, how should I mitigate that, and how should I move on? And whatever experience I have learned from this, I should be using it in my next project or the next task, right? Agile can be used where we are not sure what we need, and it will eventually evolve when we proceed, right? So we don't know what to do. So we have just one small idea. Let's start with few user stories and go ahead, right? And as and when we get more picture, we will keep on adding those features to my product. Of course, this design of experiment concept can be used in Agile because it evolves with the requirement, right? And changes can be easily incorporated in Agile. So when your customer comes to you and say, hey Prashant, I need to add this change, what should be my response? You are most welcome, no problem. Just give me the, whatever information you have, my team will start working on it, right? Active user involvement and intense collaboration in the team is required. That's one of the most important aspects in Agile. So user involvement and collaboration is, yes, which is the topmost important, I would say, requirement or a feature of Agile. If we collaborate as a team, if we collaborate with the customer, we get feedback from that customer, is what I need in Agile project, right? That is where Agile is successful, right? Moving on, project constraints. So let's say we talk about any project, not only software, but any project in the world. So it has constraints like a time, cost, budget, right? Money, scope or change, quality, which is most important, resources, right? Resources can be a manpower or the people or any kind of resources like a tool or technologies. Then organizational capabilities and any other limitations you can think of, right? So all these projects are impacted by all these constraints. Any project you can think of will always have this, these things involved in that. So there are many aspects now. So my project has all these impacted areas. Which project management way I should go for in Agile? So in simple language, Agile is an umbrella under which there are several frameworks. First one will quickly start with, let's say, Scrum. FTD stands for Feature Driven Development. Kanban, DSDM, Crystal, Lean, ASD stands for Adaptive Software Development, XP stands for Extreme Programming, right? So Agile is an umbrella which covers all these various frameworks, right? And so there's this Mr. X, I usually call this person as Mr. X, who is really confused now. You know, there is a lot of things happening, a lot of other frameworks. What should I do? How should I start? So in this particular session, we are gonna quickly talk about Scrum. Okay, but before we talk about Scrum, let's cover what is something called as a PDCA cycle or a Deming cycle. There is a person, Mr. Deming, who has introduced this concept of PDCA. What does it mean? Plan, do, check, act, right? Even in real life, we do a lot of other things like this, right? We plan something, we do it, we check whether this works or not, and we act on it, right? But very important point is, once I check whatever has happened, have I really improved on it and then acted on it? That's very important. So what I usually suggest people is, you plan it, you do it, you check it, and before you act, improve on it if it is required, right? So PDCA is one of the key pillars in Agile. Now, let's quickly talk about Scrum framework. Scrum is usually derived from the topic of rugby football approach, wherein all the team together tries to move this ball from one corner of this, this particular stadium to the other corner of that stadium or the ground, right? In similar way, complete team, a development team tries to create a small increment, which are like a working shippable product increment, and complete this product in a given time, right? So this particular diagram quickly explains you how this Scrum works, So there's a project business case based on which you have a project vision statement. Then your product owner creates a prioritized product backlog. Then you high level plan for a release schedule. Let's say 6 months, 12 months. I'll be having 24 sprints. I'll be having 20 sprints, a high level planning. Then you think of this sprint, which can be of 1 to 6 weeks. There are various organizations, have various different weeks of, the sprint duration. Somebody says it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I would say use it in your own preference. So if you think that 2 weeks is helping you, go for it. If you think that 4 weeks is helping you, go for it, right? Then, so basically this is what is the high level idea or the picture of Scrum, right? Let's discuss in detail. So Scrum principles. What are those Scrum principles? Let's start with the first one, empirical process control. This is one of the key aspects in Scrum, where we say that there are 3 pillars of this: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. These are the most important key pillars of this empirical process control, and that's the very first important Scrum principle. Moving on, second one, which is self-organization. As this diagram indicates that this is a Scrum team or the development working on the Scrum project. They have to be self-organized and cross-functional, working with each other, helping each other, and the highly motivated individuals. If I have such teams, I will be able to, execute any project using Scrum with the help of such teams. Next, collaboration. So this collaboration is not only between this development team, but at the same time, collaboration with the customer, collaboration with the stakeholders, collaboration with the senior management, anybody who is actively or inactively involved in this project, right? Moving on, value-based prioritization. This is one of the key important aspect, because as a product owner or as the business person, I need to know that this particular area, if I deliver to the customer, I'm gonna get the good results or the good return on investment. And that's the most important aspect in Scrum, for which the product owner is responsible, right? Moving on, a concept of time boxing, which is like when to do what and in what time. So let's say usually we talk about sprint planning, which is usually of 4 hours. Then we talk about a daily stand-up meeting, which is of 15 minutes. Then a retrospect meeting, it can be say 2 hours. Sprint review meeting, it can be say 2 to 4 hours, right? So these are all time boxing in Scrum. And the last important, iterative development. So obviously, if somebody asks me, like, Prashant, I need this software or I need this product, can you deliver it in 2 weeks? What will be my answer? No, I can't deliver it in 2 weeks. But I would try to deliver a small increments every 2 weeks for you, and roughly I will be able to complete this project or this software at the end of say 10 months, which can include 20 sprints, right? That's a high level plan. So these are the Scrum 6 principles, very important. Then roles, artifacts, and meetings. What are Scrum roles? So I usually categorize them as core roles and non-core roles, right? Product owner, That's the first important role. Scrum Master, Scrum Team, or sometimes they are called as development team. The product owner is somebody who is responsible for, we usually say this person as a voice of the customer. Why? Because this is the person who interacts with the customer and gets the requirements for me and my team, right? He should know the project vision and he should be able to prioritize all the requirements or all the user stories for me, right? So he's the one of the most key role in Scrum. Moving on, Scrum Master, very important. What is the responsibility of a Scrum Master in Scrum? So he ensures that Scrum processes are followed. If my team is new, I can train them, coach them on Scrum concepts, right? Then look after of all the meetings or facilitate all the meetings. And he is a person who is using a servant leadership style of management, right? That means I'm your servant. If I'm a Scrum Master, I'm your servant. Come to me for anything. I will help you resolve your queries, right? Again, another important core role in Scrum, which is a Scrum team. Very important because they are the ones who are going to work on this particular requirement and convert them into a potentially shippable working product. What all features this team should have? They should be self-organized, cross-functional, highly motivated individuals, right? Apart from these three key roles or core roles, we have a non-core roles. It can be stakeholders, who contains customers, end users, sponsors. Other one is vendors. And the last one is Scrum Guidance Body. What is Scrum Guidance Body? A set of individuals who are expert in Scrum, who are sitting at an organization level and helping all the Scrum and Agile happenings in the company or in the project. So as a Scrum Master, as anybody in the Scrum team, I face any issues, I may contact them and ask them, oh, hey Prashant, I need this help. Can you help me with this Scrum concept? And the Scrum Guidance Body should be responsible for it, right? Artifacts. What are artifacts in Scrum? Let's quickly gonna talk about this. Project vision statement, prioritize product backlog, sprint goal, sprint backlog, impediment log, and product increment. So project vision statement is what? A vision at a high level that why this project is needed and what are the features we are expecting. A very high level document. Then prioritize product backlog should be something like I need these features, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, or user story 1, user story 2, or sometimes epics 1, epics 2, anything it can contain. And of course, it has to be prioritized. Okay. Sprint goal is something which as a Scrum team during sprint planning meeting commits that, okay, as a team, we are going to complete 1, 2, 3, 4 user stories or 1, 2, 3, 4 requirements in a precise words, right? Sprint backlog is yes, it's more or less the same thing. So I'm gonna say that sprint backlog is what? I'm gonna complete these 4 user stories. And that obviously becomes my sprint goal. If I commit that I'm able to complete this, that means that becomes my sprint goal, right? Then impediment log. Impediment is most of the times people, don't understand what is this impediment is. It is basically the problem or the issues what Scrum team is facing. So that's just a new word in Agile or Scrum, right? So impediment is log is similar to what your risk log is or risk register is in a short language. Okay. So it says impediment log. That means whatever issues my Scrum team is facing, I can write them or I can put them inside this impediment log. Okay. Next, product increment. So whatever we gonna work in the sprint, at the end of sprint, I will be able to create something as a working functionality and I should be able to contribute towards that product increment as a whole, right? Moving on, Scrum meetings. It starts with the project vision meeting, right? Again, outcome of this is the project vision statement. Then release planning meeting, which like, just for the management or just for the sake of customers, how much time it gonna take approximately? Because in Scrum, you really cannot commit that, okay, I'll be able to finish this project in so much duration with so many people. You can't do that, right? Sprint planning meeting, wherein you gonna decide that, okay, in this particular 2 or 3 weeks of sprint, I'm going to deliver 1, 2, 3, 4 items based on the capacity I have, right? Then of course, daily stand-up meeting, as the name says, it happens on a daily basis. Every day Scrum team meets each other at the defined timeline, at the scheduled time for 15 minutes and discussed on those 3 important questions. I guess you guys are aware of what all those questions are. So it says, what did I do since yesterday? What will I do today? And is anything blocking me or what is there any impediments for me, right? And obviously, who is facilitating this meeting? A Scrum Master. And he or she, whoever is the Scrum Master is, will resolve all their doubts. I mean, of course, outside this meeting, make sure impediments are, logged. And of course, it is his responsibility to resolve them. right? Moving on, sprint review meeting, which happens at the end of the sprint, wherein Scrum team reports to the product owner that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 items are delivered, that's the demo, please check if it is accepted or rejected based on the acceptance criteria defined, right? And then retrospect sprint meeting, in which a Scrum team, that's the development team who has worked on this sprint, they will meet each other and they will try to talk with each other and identify the potential bottlenecks and the areas of improvement. So it is more or less similar to the lessons learned. Whatever we have done, let's talk about it and see what are good things we have done, what are bad things we have done. If it is something bad or wrong, let's not do that again. And there are any areas of improvement, let's talk about them and let's do it, right? Why Scrum? So let's see. I mean, this is the particular graph I have generated which compares Scrum versus PMP versus Prince2. In particular region you can do that. Let's say you visit google.com/trends, just type in Scrum, PMP, Prince2 and just click enter. And then you can check this graph for any countries. I have done this for United States under category of jobs and education. You can generate this graph for India, UK, Europe, any countries you want, right? So basically, I'm going to talk here about this popularity of, this Scrum, right? So it's not that PMP is not important, but Scrum is all about adaptive project management, which is like widely accepted in the industry now. That's the reason everybody is talking about all these agile methodologies, and Scrum is widely accepted as the framework for new product development. Okay, now nothing about agile or Scrum as such. Let's talk about something else now. So client expectations, right? Let's say you are a software developer or anybody, like a team member or a developer, tester, anybody you are, and you're talking to your client about getting a requirement. So what are client expectations are? So she's the client. Let's say this is me, and I'm really, surprised when she said something. So what she's saying is, I want my logo bigger. That's her requirement, just one liner, right? And this is the problem we face as a developers, in project, in IT. So, and the real expectation was, I also want it to spin, light up, and jump off the web page and fly around the room. And look at my reaction. Oh my God, was this your expectation? I was really not aware, right? This is what usually happens. Moving on, employer expectations. Let's say I'm the employee, maybe, just as you're looking for a job change. And, I have been to some XYZ company, and this is the interviewer who is going to interview me. So there's a person standing here, and again, let's assume that this is me. Okay, what this person is saying, I want a professional who knows C#, SQL, remote team, web services, WCF, WPF, Silverlight, Azure, and XYZ. Almost all technologies, guys, right? How can you expect one person to know each and everything? And look at my reaction. I think he wants a Superman, right? So as an employer, of course, now expectation is you have to be cross-functional. As a developer, if I'm a developer, I can't say that I can't do testing or I can't do any other work. Rather, I should be open enough myself, and of course, I have to be self-organized to say that not a problem, I'll do this job for you, right? Employee expectations. So this is me laughing. Let's see what happens. So this is my interviewer. What's the question to me? If the earth rotates 30 times faster, what will happen? We'll see my answer. We will get our salary every day, right? So as an individual, we always are interested in getting our salary. When this first day of every month is coming, I'm really keen to, waiting for that and, just dying to work hard for that particular day. So that's a human tendency, right? Benefits of Scrum. Why should I go for Scrum as an individual? So there are certain research what I have done, and of course with the help of Google, I am able to, I can see this 27.5 million Scrum Agile certified project management positions by 2020. I hope you guys are aware of all these positions like a Scrum Master, Agile Project Manager, Scrum Trainer, Agile Coach, and there are a lot of other areas including Product Owner, Product Managers, Business Analyst. Of course, it's like the Agile Business Analyst you can say, or the Product Owner, Product Managers areas, right? Many positions you will see in nearer future. Increase your salary by minimum 25% by getting certified in Scrum and Agile. Now, don't call me and say that Prashant, we did this, kind of certification and I didn't got a salary increment. This is what is the industry trend I'm talking. It may not happen with all the individuals, on the earth, but that's the average trend, even what Google is saying, and of course I have seen in the industry, right? 100% of all software projects are Scrum Agile based. right? Even if somebody says, Prashant, we are not following Scrum Agile, but if I ask you, do you have a daily status meeting? Do you report to your manager? They say yes. That means you guys meet together and try to discuss whatever has happened since yesterday. I'm not saying it is a daily stand-up meeting, but it is equivalent to a concept of daily stand-up. The only thing is, in that meeting, you report to a manager. In daily stand-up, you report to each other. That means you talk to your Scrum team about what is happening, right? Then, Scrum and Agile project management methods can be applied on any project, irrespective of its complexity, technology, and domain. So, like I said, it is widely used in software development, but yes, at the same time, it is used in other domains like insurance, healthcare, automobile, manufacturing, healthcare, education. There are many sectors who are using this, even in sales and marketing. Okay. Another laughing slide, developers versus testers. What this developer is saying, I'm not able to replicate this issue. This is working fine on my machine. So kindly close this bug. See the reaction of tester. I don't care if it is working fine on your machine. We are not going to deliver your machine to client. So go and fix it. Right? This is the typical conversation we get everywhere, right? What is the solution? According to me, the solution is a cross-functional team. So apart from fighting with each other, if I say, hey tester, of course, you are not a tester anymore, you are part of my development team. Just sit with me, help me, collaborate me, help me understand, and help me replicate this issue. If I'm able to do that, I will fix it for you and I can give you in testing in next couple of hours, right? That is what is the power of co-location, face-to-face conversation, and collaboration, right? Moving on, core roles. So again, quickly summarizing what core roles are. So product owner, who owns what is desired and why it is desired. Scrum master, keeper of Scrum processes and facilitator, right? And Scrum delivery team or Scrum development team, they own up how and how quickly a work can be delivered, right? That is what is all about Agile and Scrum. We'll discuss about questions in the end. Let's move on to our next part, which talks about this TFS concept, right? So I have basically logged into my own account on Visual Studio Online, right? Using my own credentials. So it says prashantsindhe.visualstudio.com. Let me quickly refresh the screen and we'll see how to basically create the Agile template using TFS or Visual Studio Online, right? Once you log in, you will see this as a summary page or a dashboard, you can say, or the landing page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create this new project. I'm going to give a name as webinar 1, just a random name, some test description. This is interested for us, right? So as I said, there are various templates. It says process template. So which template I'm interested in? I'm right now interested in a Scrum template. Let's see. As a description, it says this template is for teams who follow the Scrum framework, right? Let's see what is there. At the same time, I can say version control. It can be a Git. It can be any other thing. Let's say TFS, I can select and it can go and land in this TFS version. As of now, I'm keeping it simple. Let it be Git. And I'll say create project. So hold with me. It will take some time because this is happening on the cloud using internet. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, for any questions, please use this question and answer section and post your questions. So yes, your project is created and your team is gonna absolutely love this. Okay, I'll say navigate to project. Cool, my project is created in fraction of seconds, right? Again, it says congratulations, your team project webinar 1 is now in the cloud. Your project can store everything, your task, code, builds, test suites and more. You might be wondering what's next. So, it's like, a template is showing me what to do. I can add the code or I can say manage work. So right now I'm not interested in adding a code. Let's see what manage work is doing. It is landing me on these backlog items. I hope what is this backlog. So it's basically all user stories. Okay. I can click on backlogs and it will show me all the backlogs of all the user stories, which are there. As of now, this is the empty project. When I'm trying to add new item, it says a product backlog item or a bug. right? That's the important feature of this TFS Scrum template. I can say right now I'm beginning this project, I'm adding a user story or the PBI, product backlog item. I'll say probably create login functionality. Okay, I'll simply say add. Okay, so let's assume that I'm a product owner and I'm adding few more features. Let's say test 1. I'm just giving a random name, guys. Test 2. Test 3. Okay, fair enough. 4 user stories you can say. Now, if you look at this left navigation side, it also talks about current, which is saying sprint 1, and future sprint 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So obviously using this template, all these 6 sprints are created for me, right? Let's see what happens if I click on sprint 1. So my project name and the sprint 1 is shown here. If you see this set dates, I can set the dates for my sprint. At the same time, I can rename this sprint if I want, right? I can type XYZ, whatever is relevant for you. I can simply set a start date, which is saying, let's say 21st of March and ending after 2 weeks, which is 1st of April, right? Location, webinar 1, 7 close. So the dates are here. It's a 10 working days for a particular sprint, right? Board. I hope you know this is a Scrum board, which is again created by this template. Let's see what is inside this board. It's lonely in here. You don't have any work scheduled for webinar sprint 1. Schedule work for this sprint. I can click here and add, certain items here, or I can again simply go back to backlog items. Click on backlog. And I can drag this user story inside this sprint 1. And if you see, even this iteration path is changed, webinar 1/sprint 1, right? How did I do it? If you can see that, I'm just clicking here and dragging it on sprint 1, and it is added here. Or else, let's say I want to add this item, I can open this by double clicking. Under iteration here, if I click on this drop down, and I can say sprint 1, save and close. Got it? Now let's assume, obviously I have just added as a sample test items like a user stories. As a product owner or as a business analyst, I want to add a description. I can keep on adding a description here in this description box. Any description I want, right? Status is a new backlog item. There's a tagging option available. I can tag, maybe say admin module, reports. Let's say this task is assigned to me. I can add my name also. I can tag myself, right? Currently this particular task is unassigned. I can assign it to any individual. Let's say me in this case. Okay, I'll save and close, right? Now if I click on sprint 1, now there are certain items to work for me, right? Let's say now I click on board. All these items are displayed. Looking nice? Yeah? So let's say my sprint planning now is in progress, and of course based on the capacity I have. So how do I know how much capacity I have? By default I'm the admin, so I'm added. What is my capacity per day and what kind of task I'm doing? Let's say development, and I'll say I'm working for 6 hours per day, right? As soon as I save it, 10 into 6, 60 hours are allocated to me, and it shows as a, this progress bar, how much work it is allocated and how much I have burnt, right? As of now, this is the only person I have, so let's assume I'm the one who is, doing everything for my project, right? Now let's click on board. So here is my board, which has got this list of items. To do is basically the list of tasks. As a developer, I'll create, in progress, and done. So let's say right now I'm interested in this create login functionality. I'll simply say new, okay, that's the status. I can click on this here, new item. Let's say create web page. That's one task. Another task can be add validations. I'm just putting a random logic, guys. Let's say third task, unit testing. Fourth task, I don't know, regression test. Right? So these 4 tasks are required to complete this particular user story. Then I can go here and I'll say a number of story points here, right? Or the task points you can say. Maybe some other companies or some other practices happening around, they also use this as the concept of number of hours. So I can simply say this particular web page creation will take 2 hours. So it depends on how you're gonna consider this item, right? I can say validations will take another 3 hours, unit testing will take 1 hour, regression testing will take 0.5, right? Frankly speaking, I have not talked about this estimation technique here. I mean, I have skipped it intentionally because we have a limited bandwidth and to complete this webinar. So, okay. Then create a web page. Here I can assign it to myself, or I can double click on this. Again, I go here. I can type this person and I can say save, close, right? As my sprint is started and I have started working on this task, I can move this particular item in progress like this, okay? Or else if I want to move this item in progress, where should I do that? It's to do here. I can say in progress, save and close. It is come here, right? Let's say, I mean, I'm not able to complete this task maybe for whatever reason, or let's assume the initial duration was say 7 hours and my day 1 of my sprint is over and I have to update my board, right? What will I do as a developer? I'll come here and I'll say my 6 hours are gone, so pending time is 1 hour. It will get updated, right? Even if you have to come here and see the history, I can click here and you can see whoever has done what all changes to this particular task, right? That's another important beauty of this tool. Now my task is over. I want to move this to done. I can simply drag this inside this done column. That's it. Cool? Looking nice? Moving on. How to conduct a daily stand-up meeting in Scrum, right? If you look at this board and of course look at this person, it has all, right? If I click here, whoever is involved in my project or as part of my Scrum team will be listed here, right? Now let's say I have these 2 people. One is myself and this is my other Gmail account, right? How will I conduct a daily stand-up? I can simply say, hey Prashant, I can click on this name. Whatever items are assigned to me, I mean this particular admin user will get highlighted here. All the other items are closed because it is not relevant to him. And I can simply conduct this meeting, which is a daily stand-up, quickly. And this particular person will give me an update, and of course not to a Scrum Master but to the team, right? Whatever I'm working on since yesterday, what I'll be working on today, and is there any blocker for me? Is there any issues I'm facing, right? Then I can say, okay, moving on to the next person. This, if you see, there's nothing assigned to him. Let's say this particular tasks are assigned to him and it will be listed here. And I can say, okay, give me your updates and it is done. This is how it also helps me to conduct a daily stand-up meeting very quickly in Scrum using this Visual Studio Online model, right? So pretty much simple, guys. Let's talk about this burn down chart. This particular graph what you see is the sprint burn down. This is supposed to be the ideal graph, but as and when you progress towards the sprint, this is gonna move like a water waves here and there, plus minus, and it will get ended on this 1st of April at the end of the sprint, right? This is what it is saying, the ideal strength and available capacity. Okay, again this is what is created for you by this TFS automatically. Okay, closing this. So that is pretty much simple. I mean, if you have this tool with you in your project, good to go. Just explore it and try to use it and make your life simple. If not, you can log into visualstudio.com and get the 90 days access, I believe. I'm not sure, but yes, it's a free account and it will be with you, till the time you want to explore it. All right. So that's it from my side, guys. Any questions? Please put it on this Q&A. Yes, there's a question from this Mr. Manish Kaur. What is the primary purpose of having a sprint goal? Why is it required? Okay, so purpose of having sprint goal is what? The first main reason of having a sprint or the iteration approach is I will not be able to deliver everything in one go, right? I'm trying to deliver something as an increment, right? So sprint goal means whatever increment I have planned, I should be able to deliver that. If I am not able to deliver that, that means there is a problem. Scrum Master along with the Scrum team has to identify that problem and fix it. That is what is the impediment means, right? I guess I have answered your question. Next question is, what is the process of story process? What is the process of story process? I think I have not understood your question, but let me answer. I mean, I don't know if this is what you expect, but what is the process of story processes? Basically, you mean when the stories are added, is it? If that's the case, the stories are added always to the sprint backlog. Again, I will revisit this section for you. So this is the backlog items here, which is not relevant to particular sprint. Yeah, it's coming. So as a Scrum Master or as a product owner, as a development team, anybody can suggest any product backlog item, and it is the responsibility of a product owner and the business analyst to add these items. So anybody, any point in time can come and add this, particular backlog item, and it is the responsibility of the product owner to prioritize it for them. Right? Any other question? No questions. All right, guys. So I'll again wait for another 2 minutes for any questions if you have, and we'll close this. Okay, it says, do you suggest any tool for StoryPoint? Yes, so StoryPoint is more like the estimation technique. So a lot of people are using Planning Poker, which is based on this Fibonacci series cards. It's like 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, all those Fibonacci series. So yes, a tool is like, more like the estimation tool. So people are using that. It basically helps us in understanding how complex that particular story is. When I say 1, it is like a pretty simple story. When I say 8 or 13, it's like a mid-size. But when I say, maybe 13, 20 and more than that, it can be a complex story, right? So that's a very high level again. Anything else? Okay, so the question here is, if the purpose of having a sprint goal is to define what is to be achieved in the current sprint, and that too coming from a product owner, then doesn't it dilute the concept of Scrum Master and the backlog that is existing? Yes, the sprint goal is basically, something what a Scrum team commits. So yes, there are prioritization which is done by this product owner, but product owner cannot force a team to do everything in one go, or rather he cannot force them to do all those 4 user stories in one sprint. It is Scrum Masters who will prevent this, doing from a product owner perspective. So he'll say, okay, product owner, hold on. Let me talk to Scrum team. If they're comfortable with this particular story, so then and only then they will commit. And of course, it is a Scrum team who will decide if I accept this in a sprint or no, based on the capacity I have. Capacity is basically how much manpower and how many hours I have in my hand, right? So that's the concept. Anything else, guys? All right, so I think we should stop for today. It is really pleasure having you all in this session. Looking forward for more such sessions and looking forward to meet you again. So have a great day and good night. Thank you.
Thank you.